Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal went down on Saturday night. It wasn't the most exciting affair. It was a fun fight card. It was nice to be there. It was fun to call the fights once again. You were there as well, working for ESPN. I'll let you take the lead on this one. Anthony, Masvidal, Covington, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I got God again. I picked Masvidal because I thought maybe he knows Colby. He knows his pace. He knows his output. He knows what he feels like when he gets on top. And he still was talking about knocking him out. And so I thought, well, he seems pretty confident he's going to be able to get up off the ground. He did a really good job getting off the mat with Usman in the first fight. And Usman's more of a control guy typically than Colby is. So I thought, well, maybe he'll just, he's going to get taken down. He's going to get taken down a lot. But I think he can work back to his feet and he can land a big shot and Colby might walk into something. And then the fight goes the way that it goes. I think in that first round, I think he realized this is a lot harder to get up than I thought it was going to be. So it changed the way he struck from then on. He didn't want to push forward. He was backing straight to the fence. He wasn't holding the center. All of those things are bad when you're fighting wrestlers, right? So then I went back and I started watching his interviews again last night, like wondering, like, what did I miss? Like, because I just didn't see it. I didn't see he just looked mentally defeated halfway through. So, but then I watched his sit down with you on BT Sport, and I watched it last night. I was laying in bed, and I was like, that's what I missed. Like that genuine anger and rage that he was holding in. Like when at the very end, you guys started talking about his daughter has a phone and she's calling him. Hey, didn't this guy used to live with you? Like he let it out. That was, I think, the entire week. That was the one time he kind of let it slip a little bit where, he had to back it up. He started rubbing his thighs with his hands. Like you could tell like there was fucking real rage there. And I just
want to interject real quick and just say to everybody, this is the level of in-depth analysis that Anthony Smith does. After the fight, he's going back and watching interviews from last week. It's incredible. Your commitment to this show, Anthony, is unparalleled.
Well, I don't know. I could tell all week that there was something off, but I thought it was just like that. It was a big fight. It was, he hates him or whatever, but there was something off all week and I couldn't put my finger on it. But so I didn't even talk about it on the post show. I was like, or the pre-show all week long. I didn't talk about it because I couldn't really figure out what it was, but I figured it out kind of afterwards after seeing him fight. Like, he talked about being flat. I think he was so mentally and emotionally exhausted from his just absolute hate and rage. To the viewers and the listeners, that kind of anger and hate, even if you're holding it in and you're not letting it come out in your fight style, that's so much stress and it's so much just that it's exhausting. It's mentally and emotionally exhausting. And that's always going to kind of transfer to your fight style and to your, to your own conditioning. So I just think I think he hated him too much. I think
I think that is partly true. I mean, it is true, partly because of the reason. But, when you train with someone for that amount of time, and Jorge did talk about this in that sit down. He said, listen, when I was at 155, he did used to control me because I was way smaller. At 170, I would do better. Point of me mentioning that is that kind of alludes to already that what he's saying is that if you read between the lines is that he would get dominated in the wrestling department by Covington, which is fine because Masvidal isn't a lifelong wrestler, but he can scramble. He has got a good takedown defense. He can get back to his feet. So maybe he was going to be able to use those kind of abilities to stay on the feet or get back to the feet and make it exciting. To be honest, and I want to be respectful, but his energy looked off all week, I thought, and who knows, maybe he was just playing it calm. Maybe he was holding on to his emotions. Maybe he didn't want to reveal too much, whatever. But he wasn't the same Masvidal, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misreading it.
No, I read the same thing.
Yeah, I remember thinking he doesn't seem like the same guy. Even at the press conference when Colby was screaming his fucking head off and getting in his face and talking all kinds of crazy shit once again. Yeah, he was firing back, but it wasn't the same guy that we all know and we've all come to love. We all come to admire, his work. Masvidal's a real one. You know what I mean? And he seemed to be holding back a little bit, but maybe he was like, shit, he knows he's in for a tough fight, which of course he did. It was always going to be a tough fight. I give him credit for not getting submitted. I give him credit for not getting finished. Yes, he landed that good shot in the 4th round. But other than that, it was kind of a shutout. You know what I mean? And I'm a fan of Masvidal. I love watching him fight. I'd rather watch that Masvidal fight his fight than watch Colby fight his fight. And that's just me as a fan that prefers striking and a little bit more exciting. Hey, fair play to Colby. He did what he had to do to win the fight. That was the smart way to win. Take him down, push him back. I think when Masvidal watches it back, he'll be annoyed. There's one thing I would have said if I was in his corner was he's backing up too much. Masvidal was backing up to the fence. You back up to the fence. That's what Colby wants you. He's going to shoot, and then you got that whole thing. You get the hands together, you put him fucking down, away you go. Earlier in the night, Yan Xiaonan versus Marina Rodriguez, the fucking circular movement of Yan Xiaonan was amazing. That's what Masvidal needed. If he had more circular movement, kept away from the fence, might have had more success.
Dude, as soon as Masvidal started willingly giving up the center of the octagon and backing straight to the fence, I kind of knew that was it there. Like you can't do that. You can't let that happen with a guy like Colby Covington. Just before I forget, I'm not trying to boost your ego or anything, but your interview with Colby was that might have been the only one I've ever enjoyed. I feel like we got a little more real out of Colby in that one.
Only one of my interviews you've ever enjoyed?
No, the only one of Colby's.
I know. So, no. That's hard for the audience to clarify.
Yeah, I should have said, oh, yeah, no, that's what I meant. No.
First episode, you come and you're like, Mike, I had to take the fucking headphones off and say, Bisping's out of his mind. I couldn't listen to his commentary. Now you're like, oh, it's the only one I've ever enjoyed of Bisping's interviews. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, give me a fucking break.
No, normally I can't stand listening to Colby talk because it just seems so scripted and so fake. And we've had other guys that do that, like Connor at the beginning. At least he was quick-witted and funny with it too.
Chael for sure.
Chaels were super corny, but it was funny. Like there was a little bit tongue in cheek there sometimes.
He delivered it with tongue in cheek, with a pinch of salt. He's just playing the character, and you knew that.
Right, but Colby, you're like, God damn, dude, like you're going too far here. But at least when you guys were doing it, like I liked how you kind of held his feet to the fire on the wife and the kids, and like you brought it up to him and made him respond to you instead of letting him kind of pass that by. I don't agree with his logic and his reasoning for doing it, but it seemed like that was he genuinely believed it. Like this is why I'm doing this, and like he in his head he justified like, okay, at least he believes it. Like he's not just doing this to be an asshole or I mean he's absolutely doing it to be an asshole, but he's not just making shit up. Like whatever story he has, he believes that shit. And then the gym situation seemed a little clearer when he talked about it. I'm not, I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but at least you kind of held him to the fire a little bit and forced him to explain it in a way that was it was better than just the sound bites and the screaming at a press conference and it's on Twitter and shit. Like, okay, like I don't necessarily hate this. I don't hate listening to you talk right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, thank you very much. He was very generous, to be honest, and so was Masvidal. But so the fight, a clear shutout, I knew they wouldn't be friends afterwards. Rogan still owes me $20. We had a little bet on air about that. He said, oh, they'll be fine afterwards. I'm like, I don't know. I spoke to them this week. And clearly they were still talking shit in the octagon, even as they were saying who the winner was and stuff like that. So I don't think they're ever going to be friends again. But it does beg